In our country, death sentences are pronounced quite often, but actual executions are extremely rare. Since independence, only about 55 to 60 people have been hanged. Yet crimes, murders, rapes, robberies keep rising. Courts may award the death penalty, but it often takes 20, 30 years or more for it to be carried out, if ever. Just recently, another person was sentenced to death. He is 30 years old. The court said such a person cannot be allowed to live freely in society. The judge even remarked that wild animals might not have done to an innocent child what this human being did. The death sentence has been given, but now it will go to the High Court, then the Supreme Court, then mercy petitions, and who knows when it will finally happen. This is the story behind that sentence. It comes from Madhya Pradesh, from a place called Shahjahanabad. The crime happened on September 24, 2024, just last year. The court delivered the death penalty within a year and a quarter. It was around noon, 12 o'clock. In an apartment in Shahjahanabad lived a family with a 5-year-old daughter. Both parents were at work. The little girl was with her grandmother and elder uncle in their flat. She wanted to fetch a book from her own home, which was just a few steps away in the same colony. She asked her grandmother and went. But the child never returned. After some time, the grandmother got worried. She told her son, the child's elder uncle. They went to check. The house was locked. The child was nowhere to be found. At that time, municipal corporation workers were fogging the entire colony to kill mosquitoes. Thick fog filled the air. The family and neighbors searched everywhere, basement, rooftops, every corner. Nothing. The parents were called. They rushed home in panic. Soon, the whole colony joined the search. Teams were formed. They checked every house, every flat. The 5-year-old was nowhere. Hours passed. The family realized she wasn't in the colony. Fearing the worst, the parents ran to the police station and filed a missing person report. The police immediately sensed the seriousness. Senior officers were informed. They reached the spot and took charge. Around 100 police personnel were deployed. Teams were sent in every direction. CCTV footage was checked thoroughly, but the child was never seen leaving the colony on any camera. That meant she never went outside. So, if she didn't leave the colony, where was she? The police now focused entirely on the colony. They searched every flat multiple times. No clue. September 24th turned into 25, then the morning of 26. Nearly 35 hours had passed since the child went missing at noon on the 24th. On the morning of September 26th, a foul smell started coming from the flat right next to the child's elder uncle's flat, the same block where she had gone to get her book. Neighbors also noticed the stench. They asked the residents, a mother, her daughter, and her son, who lived there. The women said, "A rat must have died. We've put medicine, but the smell isn't going away." A little later, one neighbor suddenly remembered recent news stories about bodies hidden in homes giving off similar odors. He felt something was wrong. He immediately called the police and reported the smell from the neighboring flat. Meanwhile, the entire colony had been searching for the missing 5-year-old for the last 35 to 36 hours. Everyone loved her. She played with all the kids. The colony was united in worry. The moment the police heard about the smell coming from the flat opposite the child's uncle's home, their suspicion grew. They were already searching everywhere. A team reached the flat. They knocked. 2 women opened the door. The police said, "There's a bad smell coming from your flat." The women replied, "A rat died. We've put medicine." The police said, "The smell is unusual. We need to search your house." The women started arguing. Why search for a dead rat? At that moment, the child's grandmother and elder uncle were standing outside. They told the police, "Don't talk to them like that. They are our neighbors. They've been helping us search for the child since yesterday." The police still insisted it was their duty. A female officer stepped in, moved the women aside, and entered. Inside, the smell was much stronger. They searched everywhere, nothing. Then an officer noticed a large water tank in the house. As he approached, the stench became overwhelming. He said, "Open the tank." The women panicked. Their faces turned pale. They said, There's nothing in it. It hasn't been cleaned for days. That's why the smell. The police insisted. The lid was opened. A wave of horrific stench hit everyone. An officer climbed up and looked inside. Floating on the water was a bundle. When the tank was searched properly, they found a body inside. Judging by the size and clothes, it was the missing 5-year-old girl. The body was badly decomposed and swollen. It was difficult to pull out through the narrow opening, so the police sealed the tank again, loaded it onto a vehicle, and took it to the hospital. At the mortuary, the tank was cut open. The body was removed. The clothes were recognized by the family. It was indeed the little girl. The 2 women were immediately arrested. A second search of the house revealed a folding bed under which lay a pillow with bloodstains. Under the bed was a sheet and a sari, also stained with blood. All items were seized as evidence. The women confessed. They revealed the real killer, a 30-year-old man named Atul. Atul was the son of one woman, Basant, and brother of the other, Chanchul. He lived with them in that flat. On September 24th, during the fogging, the entire colony was covered in thick smoke. People stayed indoors. Atul stepped out briefly. He saw the little girl coming down the stairs to get her book. She knew him as Uncle from the neighborhood. He called her over. "Where are you going?" "To get my book." "Come, it's smoky outside." "I'll take you." His mother and sister were out at the time. He took the child inside his flat, locked the door, and assaulted her brutally. In about 35 minutes, he raped her, tortured her, and then strangled her to death. After the crime, he hid the body under the bed. Blood had stained the pillow and sheets. Soon after, his mother and sister returned home. He panicked. He told them everything. They scolded him, but decided to hide the crime instead of reporting it. They said, "Police are everywhere. Let's hide the body in the water tank for now." The 3 of them together placed the body in the tank, covered it with cloth to reduce the smell, hid the blood-stained pillow and sheets under the bed, and burned incense to mask the odor. When the police came the first time on the 24th, they checked the house but didn't suspect the tank. They left. The next day, when police announced the child never left the colony, searches intensified. They came again. The tank was right there, but they didn't open it. Atul knew he couldn't move the body now. Police were everywhere. The smell grew stronger. Neighbors noticed. One called the police. That's when the body was found. All 3 confessed. Atul was the rapist and murderer. His mother and sister were guilty of concealing evidence and the crime. The case went to trial. Within a year and a quarter, the lower court sentenced Atul to death. His mother and sister each got 1 year in prison. The court said such a crime against a 5-year-old child deserves nothing less than death. But as I said earlier, the real execution may take years if it ever happens because of appeals, mercy petitions, and legal delays. That's why criminals often feel fearless. They know even if caught and sentenced to death, they can live comfortably in jail for decades. Until our justice system delivers swift punishment in such cases, within a year or 2, crimes like this will continue. That's the story for today. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you tomorrow with a new story.